Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. Thank you for watching the Rams-Bills Week 3 game preview coming at you. Got a lot of good stuff here. Before I get to it, I want to thank everyone that has subscribed, everyone that's left a comment, everyone that's left a like. A lot of new subscribers to the Rams Talk community here, and I really appreciate everything. And of course, all the legacy, we'll call them Rams Talk Classic. Really appreciate all the comments and all the love you've been showing. So this is really good. It motivates me to make sure I'm on top of my game and maybe even bringing you more content than normal. So yeah, a couple things. You can find me on Instagram at LA Rams Talk, Twitter at Real LA Rams Talk. I'm on TikTok, LA Rams Talk. I don't know if you're the demographic for that, but it's there. And also Fan to Fan Network, a bunch of people like me from all the different teams, like the real Dan Mitchell. I was supposed to live stream with him on his channel on Wednesday, but he couldn't do it because of work, so we're going to do that tonight. I will leave information in the description of this video, so if you want to find us, I believe it will be at maybe 2:30 p.m. Eastern or Pacific time. I will let you know. So that's what is happening there. So yeah, let's just get into this. Now, when I was a kid, every summer I would visit my cousins up in upstate New York, in Rochester, New York, in a town in Rochester called Pittsford. So I kind of grew up knowing a lot about the Bills, because the Bills, that's kind of the upstate New York team. And that was during the 90s, the heydays of Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith. So grew up with a lot of Bills action there. Before I moved to Germany, I worked at Red Bull with a buddy, Alex Herman, Hermdog. He's from Rochester. He is a Bills fan. So we were always talking like, hey, what's going on with the Rams? What's going on with Bills? That's when Tyrod led the Bills to that win to get them into the playoffs. And then, so I was always talking to him like, who you guys getting in the draft? And he was like, oh, I hope we get Ed Oliver. So kind of been tracking the Bills for a while. And I just got to say this, I have nothing but the utmost respect for the Bills organization, the Bills fan base. We don't have a beef with them. We play them once every 4 years, maybe. Our overall record against the Bills, 5-7. So Bills have the leg up in that one. But just an all-around good organization, good coach. They've done a very good job. So I really have nothing bad. I have nothing bad to say about the Bills. Yeah, if there's a team we hate in the NFC or in the AFC East, it is the Patriots. So I think the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Bills. It's like kind of indifferent. So, anyways, the Bills are favored by 2.5 points last time I checked, and this is going to be a nice weather game, 80 degrees in Buffalo. So this will be good times. And that's one thing about the Rams. They did luck out in traveling. The beginning of the season, they are going to typically in the winter cold weather areas, but because they're hitting it now, nothing but great weather in Philly, great weather in Buffalo. So this will just be a nice sunny SoCal day in Buffalo. The last time the Bills and the Rams met was 2016. Jared Goff was on the roster, but he wasn't playing. It was early in the season. This was the Case Keenum, Tyrod Taylor showdown that was riveting America, and the Bills won that game 30-19. Nickel Roby-Coleman, who played for the Bills back then, had a pick six against Keenum. Robert Woods was on the Bills at that time. So, all around, these are kind of like times that Rams fans just try to erase from the memory bank. The late Jeff Fisher era, if you will, was just garbage. The fact that we even scored 19 points really says a lot. Todd Gurley had a touchdown in that game, so that was cool. So yeah, we owe them. And, the Rams have been so crappy for so long, pretty much in the last 30 years, that we have almost a losing record, I feel like, every team. So every win we get now just kind of helps us inch back in these all-time head-to-head record matchups. So this, to me, the first thing I thought about with the Bills and the Rams, this is a battle of the Sean McVay versus Sean McDermott. I mean, when has that ever happened? When you get a Sean Mick versus a Sean Mick. So we'll see which Sean Mick ends up the victor. And then let's just also talk about injuries. So with the Rams, we all know Noteboom's been placed on IR. He was replaced by Natrez Patrick. So we'll see after this game where Terrell Lewis is and see if they make a little switch right there, put Natrez Patrick back on the practice squad and promote Terrell Lewis. So Noteboom's out. Edwards is going to start. I think we're all kind of, really interested to see how Edwards fares. I think the general consensus is that we like David Edwards. I like David Edwards. Then we have Cam Akers, who hasn't practiced yet this week. I think he'll be made available. He'll probably suit up as kind of the emergency guy, but I don't know. I kind of, stuff like this, who am I? But I feel like you just let it rest, let the separated cartilage connect and heal. Malcolm Brown, broken finger, he will play. And that's just crazy that you'd play with a broken finger. But anyways, so that's it for the Rams. And then for the Bills, last week and maybe in the first 2 weeks, they were hit really hard with their linebacker core. Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano were both out last week, which is why that game was a little closer than it should have been against the Dolphins. Zach Moss is on the injury report. He might not play, and their tight end Knox had a concussion last game. He hasn't played. He's still in concussion protocol, so who knows what will go on. I mean, we still have today and tomorrow before the game, so a lot can happen there. Now, the Rams are traveling to the East Coast for the second consecutive week. I heard somewhere some idiot, it was Michael Florio. He was saying, teams that do it 2 weeks in a row, the second week they just come out like a dud. Yeah, really basing a lot of my analysis and a lot of my opinion on what Mike Florio thinks. So whatever, Mike Florio. They're getting into Buffalo Saturday night. Like I said, strategical strike, wake up, boom, play, 10 a.m. Eastern time, get back out, get home for dinner, sleep in your own bed. I think the Rams, they're the third youngest roster in the NFL. So they got young guys that can deal with this, right? So this isn't, hopefully this doesn't have an effect because it's a second consecutive week. So hopefully they come out fresh. Because last season, the Rams, there were at least 3 games they came out just completely flat. But they weren't games necessarily where they traveled. It was the Ravens, the Cowboys, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So a couple of those were at home. But the Rams are 5-0 since the Sean McVay era started in 2017 with 1 p.m. Eastern, so 10 a.m. Pacific games on the road. And they've outscored the opponents 185 to 89, and they've averaged at least 30 points on all of those games. So Rams are also have the highest winning percentage since 2017 on the road of any NFL team. It's got to be higher than 72%. That's what it was going into the Philly game, and they won that. So, the Rams are good on the road, especially at those 10 a.m. games on the East Coast, the East Coast games that are at 10 a.m. in Pacific time. So history bodes in the Rams' favor in terms of these things. However, this is unprecedented travel situation, so we'll see how that plays out, but I like the Rams' chances on that. Now, let's just start with the Bills offense. So like I said, a lot of respect for the Bills offense, Rams defense here. So Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen has done everything you can ask him to do going into his 3rd season. And I know that, yes, this is going to be interesting because the Bills haven't played anyone, okay? They're 2-0 against crap, against the Jets, who are, in my opinion, the worst team in football, and the Dolphins, who are a better team, but just not there yet, right? So they're 2-0 against teams that will not make the playoffs, teams that will probably have top 10 picks. And Josh Allen's done what a good quarterback would do, is he's completely destroyed them, right? This isn't the Josh Allen like passing for 210 yards, running for a touchdown. This is, he had his first 300-point game, his first 400-point game, which is kind of cute when you consider that Jared Goff has had 15 300-yard games. Sorry, did I say points before? 300-yard games, 4 or 5 400-yard games, and a 500-yard game. So I love how everyone is just freaking out over the fact that Josh Allen finally had a 300-yard game, and that's just kind of like every 3rd game for Jared Goff in his career. So, granted, Jared Goff has played, I think 22, 24 more games than Josh Allen, but, let's just slow our roll, Bills fans. Be happy, of course, because he has improved. After last year, there was he ranked towards the bottom in terms of deep pass accuracy. This year, nailing it. His accuracy, his touch, his decision making, all really good. And it really helps. They have Stefon Diggs, so I think he just feels more comfortable. But it looks like he has evolved. And you know what do good organizations do? They draft well and they develop. And it seems like that's what the Bills have done. They've drafted very well and they're developing Josh Allen. So, you know, you like to see it. Like I said, Josh Allen, I like Josh Allen, no problems. But it's going to be very interesting to see in this game because there's another storyline. There's Josh Allen versus Jalen Ramsey. Now, Rams fans might not know this, but back in the day when Ramsey was on Jacksonville, they played, and there was a lot of, Jalen Ramsey, I think, came out in an ESPN, the magazine article, and was taught, saying this player sucks, that player sucks, and he called Josh Allen trash. And then the Bills beat them, and you ask Josh Allen, then and today, he's like, yeah, I don't care. I only care about the people in the locker room. But you know that Josh Allen remembers that. And Josh Allen would love to get over on Jalen Ramsey. And Jalen Ramsey most likely will be guarding Stefon Diggs, Josh Allen's favorite target and one of the better receivers in the NFL. So this is just going to, to me, everything on offense. I mean, yeah, you still have John Brown to account for. You still have Cole Beasley to account for, Devin Singletary. Josh Allen's mobility, him running the ball, but it really comes down to if Jalen Ramsey can really mitigate Stefon Diggs, I think that takes away a lot for the Buffalo offense. And then, one thing to think about the Rams secondary is that they've played, so everyone's like, oh yeah, the Bills receivers though. And yeah, the Bills receivers are great. I'm not taking anything away from the Bills receivers. But the Rams just faced the Dallas receivers. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, okay? And Zeke out of the backfield. And Pollard out of the backfield, right? So at least a wash in terms of how good those receivers are comparatively, right? So it's not like the Rams haven't played good receivers. And when you think about it, this is actually pretty crazy. The Rams are playing probably 2 of the top 5 set of receivers in football, both in the first 3 weeks. And the Bills have played against, let's see here, Brashad Perriman, some other guy on the Jets, and some dudes on the Preston Williams and Devontae Parker. Okay. But let's get back to it. So Josh Allen last week, what he did is he feasted in the middle of the field and inside crossing routes. And those routes take a little bit more time to develop. And so it was taking him about 3.36 seconds to get the ball out. So he was holding on the ball longer, but the inside crossing routes, because Miami was playing a lot of man. And they're like, fine, if you're going to play man, we're just going to inside cross you to death. And that's what they did. He was 7 for 10 for 172 yards with 24.6 yards per catch in those inside crossing routes. So what that tells me is if the Bills want to have the same game plan and use the inside crossing routes or work the middle of the field, that's Micah Kiser, that's Kenny Young. That's everyone there. That's Troy Hill in the slot manning the middle of the field. That's John Johnson, that's Jordan Fuller. It takes a village, and it'll take a village to really guard the middle of the field and pass guys off. Now, like I said before, the Rams have played Dallas, and they did very well against the receivers. And in 2 games, the only receiving touchdown the Rams have given up was that play to Zeke, where he just we missed 8 tackles on that one play when he went down the right sideline. But no receiver, no Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Deshaun Jackson, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Reagor, even tight ends, Zach Ertz, Blake Jarwin, Dallas Goedert, none of them caught a touchdown. None of them. So the Rams secondary, they give up plays, but they keep it underneath. No big plays. And against Miami, it was big play, big play, big play. And Byron Jones left the game early, like the first series of the game. So they didn't have one of their top cornerbacks. So that's not the case. The Rams have a very, very good secondary. Buffalo has not seen a secondary like this. So that's going to be a key matchup. How does Jalen Ramsey play against Stefon Diggs? And then how do Troy Hill and Darius Williams also help out? The tight end situation for Buffalo, nothing to be greatly concerned. They don't really have a star there. Knox may or may not play, but he hasn't been too effective when he has played. Their tight ends have been really kind of nothing to speak for going so far this season. Now, let's see here. So one of the things that Brandon Staley said, what he wants to do, especially with Josh Allen, Josh Allen's still a young guy. He still has to really prove it. I think if he goes wire to wire like this year, then you can really go, okay, he is like fully legit. But he's a rising star, don't get me wrong. But can he still process everything? So what Brandon Staley said he wants to do, he wants to make it very stressful for him, basically giving him all kinds of post-snap looks, pre-snap looks. He sees one thing before the snap, sees another thing after the snap. He likened it to essentially like rush hour traffic in Manhattan. That's what he wants to make it, instead of just a nice cruise down the PCH coast, right? Well, depending on when you go there, there's a lot of traffic, but you know what I mean? Like a nice open country road, just chill out in your convertible Miata, just cruising, or, stressful honking, what you looking at, New York City, Manhattan style. So I think the Rams, Staley they're really going to give a lot of looks and try and confuse Josh Allen a lot and give him things he hasn't seen before, not used to seeing. And that, I feel, is really going to be the game plan. Now you talk about, what about AD? What about AD? I think AD is going to eat this week. I really do. Now, Philadelphia and Dallas had really good offensive lines, okay? The Bills' offensive line is like average. It's nothing great, nothing terrible. It's just kind of there, okay? And there's not one player on that offensive line that really stands out. They don't have an all-pro. But they have some serviceable guys and some questionable guys. I think Aaron Donald really is going to line up in the interior between the guard and the center on both sides, because last week against Miami, the left guard, Spain, he played pretty much every snap, but on the right guard, Cody Ford and Winters, Cody Ford played more snaps, but Winters came in for about 20 snaps in there. And so I think the Bills are still kind of mixing and matching. So if Spain underachieves, because according to Pro Football Focus, Spain has a 42 grade. He was ranked 42nd out of guards. Ford 60th. Winters didn't have a grade because I don't think he had enough snaps. And then their tackles were 23rd and 33rd amongst all tackles. So, not bad. But I think Cody Ford and Spain, those two guys are going to be guys, and even Mitch Morse, who ranked 29th out of centers, which isn't great. So I think you look at the center, you look at the two guards, and that is where I think AD is just going to be busting through. So he's going to be double teamed, obviously. So the Rams really need to elevate their pass rush. They are 32nd. They're close to the last in terms of pass rush win rate percentage at 32%. Buffalo's first. I'll get to that in a sec. So I think that's going to be a lot of that's going to be I think this is an AD sack week, right? Or hopefully sacks from other guys too. I think we're going to get pressure on Josh Allen, especially if he's holding onto the ball. So it's going to be incumbent on Josh Allen to get rid of the ball. Devin Singletary, good running back, second-year guy. Zach Moss, rookie, injured, not sure if he's going to play, but Singletary hasn't been crazy impressive. And granted, they haven't run the ball a lot this year. He has 86 total yards and 7 receptions for 43 receiving yards. The third stringer is TJ Yeldon, Mr. Underwhelming. TJ Yeldon is the backup there. And the Bills are 22nd in terms of rush offense. So yeah, I think for me, it is really just the coverage in the secondary and frustrating Josh Allen. And if they have to run the ball more, then what's working. And the Rams, here's the thing. The Rams are like one of the last teams in pass rush win rate and run stop win rate, right? But they don't give up points. So it's kind of like they allow these yardage, but they get key stops and they kind of stymie an offense. So that's I think what the Rams are going to do on defense. So look at the chaos, and the Diggs-Ramsey matchup is going to be really awesome. And can they get to Josh Allen? Because even if they penetrate, he's really good at scrambling. He's like old school Ben Roethlisberger. He can get out of there. So, and he's a big guy. Not Cam Newton big, but he is pretty big. So he's not one of these slender dudes. So there you go. Now on offense for the Rams, the Bills have a good defense. So I think and they match up very well against the Rams in a lot of areas on the defensive line, in the linebackers, and in the secondary. So the Rams just need to keep on ramming it. Ram it. Okay? Run the ball. They're third in the NFL on rushing yards, team rushing yards. So that's pretty crazy. I never thought I'd say that 2 games into the season. Run the ball, play action, A lot of pre-snap motion, post-snap motion, roll Jared Goff out, quick passes. Same thing, right? Because the Bills' defensive line is pretty good. You've got Jerry Hughes. You've got Trent Murphy. Yeah, Trent Murphy. You've got, Ed Oliver and Addison. So you really have a solid defensive line. But like Ed Oliver is great. We face Fletcher Cox, okay? Jerry Hughes is like probably one of the most underrated defensive ends in football. And Murphy, those guys are good. But we faced Everson Griffin, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Aldon Smith, right? So like the Rams have also played some pretty big dudes and some pretty good pass rushers in their previous 2 games. So, you know, they haven't been coasting out and now they're getting their real test. So like I said, Rams need to run the ball. Look at last game. The Eagles had, on average, since 2016, since Jim Schwartz landed there, allowed the least amount of yards rushed per game, 92.2. The Rams rushed for 100 yards more than that. And the Eagles knew what the Rams were going to do and still couldn't stop them. The Rams were just dizzying them. So the Bills are a better coach team. I think they're definitely a better roster. But they haven't seen anything like the Rams on offense. They haven't. Jared Goff is incredibly accurate. Now the linebackers, this is probably the biggest key, are getting these 2 guys back, Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano. Those guys, when they were out last week, that's why Gesicki for the Dolphins, the tight end, just ate him up in the middle of the field because those guys weren't there. Now those 2 guys are great in the play action, but the play action is good for the offense if running the ball works. So the Rams, look to the Rams of Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown, because I really don't feel Cam Akers is going to do much in this game. Establish the run. Do that, you win the game. That opens everything. Now they also have a star corner in Tre'Davious White. Now he got beat for a touchdown. It happens, right? But he got beat for a touchdown last week, whereas Jalen Ramsey only didn't give up a catch. Right? Wasn't even really targeted. So Tre'Davious White gave up a touchdown, but he's still pretty good. And I don't know who he's going to be guarding. So let's just say he guards Woods. Okay? Their second cornerback on the other side, Levi Wallace, he saw a lot of targets coming his way on the receiver he was guarding. So I feel like the Rams are going to do the same thing, whether it's Van Jefferson, Josh Reynolds, Cooper Kupp, whoever it is. Look at the Rams who attack cornerbacks not named Tre'Davious White. They also have a good secondary in Poyer and Micah Hyde. So, I mean, they're solid on all levels. But, like I said, if the Rams just play their game, run the ball, play action, move the pocket, pre-snap, post-snap motion, quick passes, you know, that's really the keys to the Rams on offense. So I think also the linebackers will be huge for containing Higbee and potentially Gerald Everett. But to me, I'm looking at the Van Jefferson, Josh Reynolds, Cooper Kupps, or Robert Woods, whoever Trey White's not covering. Higbee as well, and Darrell Henderson, I think is, I like to see some running backs catch some balls out of the backfield. So I think I do feel the Rams will win this game. I think this will be closer than the Eagles game. And if the Rams lost to the Bills, but it was a close game, then there's no shame in that. The Bills are a good team. They are sound pretty much everywhere. Okay, so nothing bad there. So anyways, there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Rams versus the Bills. Jared Goff versus Josh Allen, 2 California boys going up head-to-head. Jalen Ramsey versus Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen. A lot of great matchups. Aaron Donald, a lot of great matchups here, but I think the Rams rush for 100. I think Jared Goff is probably in like the 280 to 300 passing yards, and the Rams score over 30 points. So I'm going to go predictions. Let me know what your predictions are. I'm going to say Rams win the game 33 to 24. 33 to 24. Or actually, no. Yeah, 33 to 24. Hey, keep in mind, the Cowboys and the Eagles haven't scored over 20 points against the Rams. I mean, it'll happen at some point, but, let's get some pass rush. Let's get some sacks. And let's turn some heads, some national heads, okay? Because if the Rams win this game, they're gonna start the season 5-0 because they play the Giants and the Redskins or the Washington football team after this. So I don't want to look too far ahead, but this game really sets it up for a nice early season schedule. And this would be great, sweeping the 3 teams at the beginning of the season. So there you go. Anyways, if you found me and you like this, please subscribe. There's a button somewhere down here. It's a little icon. Hit that. Watch a video, week 3 takeaways. There's a subscribe button that just popped up here. So anyways, thank you everyone for watching, all your comments, all the love. Let's go Rams Bills. Oh, also post-game live stream. How could I forget that? Post-game live stream. Gonna do that. Horns high, ram it, and as always, go Rams. Caught it. Caught it. Ooh, 2 out of 3.